What is going on, guys? Predator458 here, and welcome back to my channel. And today we are back in World of Warships, where we're going to be having a little play with the mighty Japanese Yamato, the tier 10 battleship, the best tier 10 battleship in the game, in my opinion. But anyways, we are on Islands of Ice, which first time I've played this since the revisions to it in 0. God, what's the patch that we just had? 0.5? I don't know. But yeah, as you can see, I mean, if you look at the bottom right, those little islands have kind of been moved closer towards the bottom right corner, so there's a bit more open water on that side. Now, this game is post-commentary. It was one of the first matches I played in Yamato after not playing it in a while, so I recorded footage, but I didn't record the commentary while I was playing. Turned out to be a pretty good match. I would consider this to be a very good match for the likes of an Iowa or most other battleships. But for Yamato, kind of okay. First obstacle we have is an Ibuki sailing in a complete straight line. No fucks given to a battleship. What's that? Nikita Leet. Damn it, man. But yeah, I mean, it's I think it's a little bit of a slow start, so we're going to kind of skip ahead to when we actually have something to shoot at. Besides that Fubuki, we're not going to shoot at him. And no sooner did I say that, and we've got a North Carolina at 24 kilometers. We're going to take a full salvo at him. Obviously, always one of the great things with Yamato is the ability to reach out and touch an enemy battleship long before they can touch you. And kind of had the lead right, but gave a little bit too much elevation. And this Fubuki then decides to get in the way. And this Baltimore, I think the Baltimore manages to avoid any kind of collision. I was just kind of heading this way because, as you can see, this is the new zone game type, where there's a single zone and you have to capture it. And I was kind of heading this way so I could eventually then turn around and maximize my time within this area protecting the capture point. So I kind of headed this way and then decided at about this point to turn around and head back into the action. And again, just keep an eye on those where those destroyers are. We don't want to get too close to them, because we're pretty much immune, as long as we play smart, to all other battleships. As long as we keep our armor angled, all we really have to worry about is high explosive spam and torpedoes from destroyers and aircraft carriers. So we got a Tirpitz and an Izumo in front of us. Bit of a lag spike. We are within gun range for both of them. The Izumo is not quite looking at us just yet, so we're just going to line up our guns. I think he's now considering taking a shot at us. We're going to fire off our front two guns and begin a turn to starboard to start angling our armor. Tirpitz now also looks like he's taking an interest in us, but as long as we can get our armor angled, one hit for just under 5,000, not quite enough lead. And unfortunately, we don't get our armor angled in time. He does penetrate and do just under 9,000 damage, but now we're in a bit better situation. We'll take some shots again at the Izumo. I think he has slowed down, so we fired one fairly far in front of him and then readjusted when we fired our front turrets. And as you can see, the rear turret did land harmlessly in the water in front of him, but the front guns managed to find their mark. 2 penetrations for just under 10,000 damage. And again, like here, I didn't really, I kind of didn't really know where to go. I didn't obviously want to just sail with my broadside towards these guys, but at the same time, I didn't want to really head in towards them, which is normally the way you kind of play a Yamato. You know, you head at the enemy with your bow pointed towards them, slightly angled to the left or right. And I guess I was maybe a little bit cautious, but we get one hit, 4,500 damage to finish off the Tirpitz, and That's our first kill. His return salvo does 3,000. So we've lost 15,000 at the moment, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, it's barely made a dent in our health pool. Still got 82,000. But yeah, now we're starting to move towards the Izumo, returning slightly just to get all 3 guns on target. We take the shot there because we're fairly sure that he is still reversing. Excuse me. And how do these do? 5 hits for 13,000 and incoming fire from, what was that, the Otago maybe? North Carolina, could be. But he is behind those little iceberg island things, so not entirely sure. But he didn't take too much damage. We're ready to fire at Izumo again. Off goes a full salvo. And at this point, I kind of really wish that, yeah, it must have been that North Carolina earlier. And another 4 hits for 10,000 odd damage. And yeah, I kind of wish I was playing Steel Oceans at this point with the secondary guns under my control. Because that really does make a big difference in that game. Focusing up these torpedo planes in case they do get in close. And just trying to decide on my next target. We haven't had any really big damage salvos yet. We're going to go for the North Carolina, but he disappeared. Now I'm just trying to see whether or not the Izumo is going forwards or backwards. Take some light damage from Izumo. And he was sitting still maybe. 4 hits, 5,000 odd damage to finish him off for kill number 2. And now we got a North Carolina in front of us who is in all likelihood shitting himself. He's at 17 kilometers. This is a pretty nice range to engage him. We're going to flatten out a bit to get all guns on target. 9-second lead, so we're going to give him just under 10. And we're going to fire off a full salvo. And hopefully those find their mark. His shells miss. And he's still sailing with a nice broadside to us. 5 hits, no citadel unfortunately, for 11,000 damage. And then the alarm bells go off and we see a massive wave of torpedoes coming in towards us. We're desperately trying to turn away, slow down, but we're going to take 3 of them, about 30,000 damage in total, but we still have 42,000, and we pop our first repair team, and that will take us up to 62,000. We'll fire a salvo at the Otago, focus up these dive bombers, and we didn't quite give the Otago enough lead, so we only get 1 hit for 1,400 damage. So that was an unfortunate salvo. It could have definitely done a lot more damage to that guy if I had aimed it properly. More lag and more planes coming in, but we do have a fair amount of friendly ships around us. Things aren't looking good for our team, though. We have destroyed... no, actually, things are looking good for our team, sorry. We've destroyed 1 enemy battleship. Well, they've destroyed 1 enemy battleship. God, I just can't get it right. And now they've destroyed our carrier, but we've destroyed 2 battleships and a cruiser. Firing at this North Carolina, who's 12 kilometers away, but he had started turning. 4 hits still for 5,000. And more torpedo warnings going off. This one should be no problem to avoid. We're just going to have to speed up, and we will get out of their way in time. We are a little bit... being a little bit flat to these guys, too much of a broadside, a little bit risky. But he is very nicely exposing his broadside to us. We're going to fire a full salvo and begin turning. Our salvo is looking good. 2 hits and a citadel for 20,000 damage. I think I did, if memory serves, I did delay my turn to angle my armor a little bit there, just because I didn't want to turn too early and swing my booty out into the way of the torpedoes. And I probably should have checked to see if it was going to happen, but I just held off. And now we got a Zhao at 20 kilometers. Just to target him up, fire a full salvo. Now I probably should have staggered those shots. At that kind of really long range against a cruiser, it's better to kind of try and blanket an area rather than take a full stab at him. But our aim was good, our lead was good, we just gave it too much elevation. If we had just lowered the guns a little bit, we could have done some serious damage to that guy. So all in all, not a bad shot. considering, again, I hadn't played Yamato for quite some time when I played this game. So now we got a Targo at 13 kilometers, so we're safe, we're out of his torpedo range. We're just going to move up and get guns on target. Now he makes a colossal fuck up here. Can you guess what's going to happen? Yep, runs aground. Now I could have wiped him out there because I kind of expected that even on full power without reversing he would start moving forward. Unfortunately that was not the case. If I'd aimed center mass of his ship, he would have been dead immediately. But gave him the lead because I expected him to start moving like that, but he didn't, and as a result he slips through our fingertips. And now we got a lot of planes in the air around us. Torpedo warnings, but they're not an issue. A North Carolina, a Des Moines, and any minute now another North Carolina is going to pop up here. Just trying to gauge this guy's speed. Very difficult at the moment because of that whole issue with the smoke from smokestacks not rendering at long range anymore, so you can't even really judge if he's going full speed or anything like that. We get 2 hits, not sure how much damage we did. Doesn't look like it was a whole lot. And there's an Otago as well. Maybe it was an Otago instead of 2 North Carolinas. Not entirely sure. But we're just waiting on the reload and trying to decide which target to go for. We're going to fire at the Otago because easier to penetrate his armor if he's angled, although Yamato's guns do very often not care about angling. 2 hits for, I think, a fair amount of damage maybe. And someone asking if it's common at high tiers for everyone to be hiding behind something, and it's not sure who it is. And yeah, unfortunately it very often is. Yeah, we don't want to have to sit with a 300,000 credit repair bill if we can help it. We get 3 hits in for about 5,000 damage, I think it was. I had slowed down and come to a stop and started reversing because I didn't want to go up against all of those ships, plus having to potentially dodge torpedoes from Otago. But he's now giving us a fairly nice target. We're nearly ready to fire our front guns. And he's not maneuvering too much, so we're going to take the shot. And how do these do? 2 hits for 6,000, unfortunately. And we're just going to wait for the reload and see who we're going to fire at next. The teams have now swapped around a little bit. They now have 1 more ship than we do. We've destroyed 3 battleships, a cruiser, and a destroyer. They've destroyed our aircraft carrier, 2 battleships, and 2 cruisers. So we've got the Zhao at 16. Just gonna probably, I think I do try and take a shot at him here, because I don't think that Otago is going to present itself within the next 30 seconds. So we take the lead and fire a full salvo. Now coming under fire from the North Carolina and the Des Moines, I believe. These shots are looking pretty good, but unfortunately not. 4 hits for just under 8,000. The Des Moines is spamming us with high explosive, as you'd expect. North Carolina also looks like he ran himself aground. And I think I'm just going to kind of settle with dealing with him with the front guns, sort of aim beneath the rear turret, because he is reversing, so hopefully these will find the center of his ship. And indeed, 3 citadels, devastating strike, nearly 40,000 damage. And now we got to get moving because the Otago is within torpedo range, and if he comes around this island and we are not moving, we will be in serious trouble. But yeah, I think we are going to take another stab at the Zhao, which is going to be a slight mistake because no, we're going to get it at the Otago. Okay. He is turning away, so we do kind of stagger those shots a little bit. And we managed to get 1 hit for 1,400 damage, unfortunately. decently aimed, maybe not the best ever, but kind of spliced a bit. Now we are safe from his torpedoes, because in order for him to give the appropriate amount of lead, he's going to land up firing into the island. And still got this Des Moines in front of us. Got a Admiral Hipper with us, and now we're in the lead. We've destroyed one more than they have. Going to turn the ship, try and get all guns on target, and finish off the Des Moines. We have let that fire burn itself out, and I think we will use a repair kit once the fire is finished burning, and just recover some more of that health. There we go, the fire's out. We fired at the Des Moines. Unfortunately, we just didn't give enough lead, so it landed towards the rear of his ship, and as such robbed us of any proper damage. We pop our final repair kit. That's going to take us up to 56,000 health. We have torpedo planes coming in, and this rather annoyed me. There's an Admiral Hipper right here, and he doesn't really try and render assistance. So we're desperately trying to turn hard to starboard to get our nose pointed towards the torpedo planes. Managed to shoot one down, and as you can see, it's just not going to work. We are going to take 4, 2, 3, 4. That drops us down to 32,000 health. We're going to use our repair damage control team because we are flooding. So we're going to have to put the flooding out. And Hipper is now dead. Managed to shoot down 3 planes in total, or 3 more planes, bringing us up to 20. So now it's 6-8. My teammates are nowhere to be seen. I kind of went on my own thing. I don't blame those guys too much. But that Hipper could have certainly helped out with the air defense against those planes. We've got this Otago at 15. Going to give him the lead and fire the front 2 guns. There is still that pesky Des Moines behind us. And how do these do? We get 1 hit for 3,500. Kind of in the Citadel area, so I'm surprised that maybe didn't do more. Wasn't a Citadel on its own. We just keep looking behind us, just waiting for that Des Moines to pop up, because they're a real pain to deal with. Fire again the front 2 guns at the Otago, just waiting to see if he's going to maneuver at all. It looks like he's going to keep his course. He's probably just speeding up. We did fire our rear guns there, so you did see those hit. And we get 3 more hits for 2,600, and that gets us high caliber and Confederate. And unfortunately, firing that salvo at that Otago robbed us. It meant we weren't ready to fire at this one, who is obviously much closer. And there comes the Des Moines fire from behind, and some torpedoes from that Otago, presumably. So we throw it into reverse, we start turning in, and we manage to miss them. But this Des Moines has set us on fire. We're trying to get the guns around, I think. It feels, I don't know if they did, but it feels like they nerfed the sort of turret rotation and maneuverability and everything on the Yamato. In fact, all ships, they just feel a little less maneuverable. He's gone behind the island. We're burning. We can put it out, but we have barely any health. 1 lone torpedo in the water. And there's only 10 seconds left of the match. Only 10 seconds. We're trying to turn and get our guns on target, but unfortunately we die with 4 seconds remaining. We were killed by the Zhao, unfortunately. So probably not the best Yamato match you've ever seen, but decent enough. And let's go and have a look at the results. As you can see, it ended in a draw. Earned ourselves 418,000 credits, 2,200 reputation, devastating strike, Confederate, and high caliber. We got 52 target hits, shot down 21 planes, 1 incapacitation, 3 kills, 4 citadels, and defended a base 3 times. We came first place overall, first place on our team by quite a margin. The Zhao on the enemy team was only a little bit behind us, and so the Des Moines a little bit behind him. As for the detailed results, as you can see, we did 175,800 damage, which is why I say this is a pretty good match for most battleships, but for Yamato it kind of still feels like a little bit of a letdown. Feels like it could have done better. But anyways, that is it for this video. If you enjoyed, please feel free to hit the thumbs up button down below and consider subscribing for more World of Warships content, as well as Armored Warfare, War Thunder, and a few other things. But anyways, that is it from me. Thank you very much for stopping by. This is Predator458 signing off, and I'll see you guys next time.